Charlie and I did an episode called Buying an RV, Why and What. And we went through sort of extensively what our thinking was at the time and why we wanted to make a change from the travel trailer. Once we had realized that we wanted a Class A, the second decision to make was, are we going to buy new or used? We knew that used was going to be the right choice for us. We realized what quality level we were shooting for. We weren't going to get that in our budget in a new vehicle. We realized we had three options basically. Used from a dealer, used from a private party, or the third was, and we have several of these around here, large RV broker type businesses. It's supposed to be fun and exciting. However, when you're looking for something specific and you know you're not going to settle, you have to start like just pulling it early if you know something's not going to work, right? And we stepped foot in at least hundreds of motorhomes. And by the time we got towards the end of the experience, we were, we wouldn't even step in some of them, but we'd step in and it would take 2 seconds. You made your decision that it wasn't going to work and you were out. And that happened a lot. We didn't care for the broker option because typically they have a lot of options usually, like several acres of parked RVs, but they don't do any cleaning or any fixing or anything like that. They just, I guess they buy them off of an auction. Most of them, there they sit. And there was one we thought we might be interested in, and a guy said, well, you know, if you buy it, we will do a thorough cleaning and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I'm not willing to buy it without the thorough cleaning happening before I make the decision. You know, they'd convince you that those terrible smells could be addressed. There's a lot of faith involved in that option. The next option, which I thought would be the one we would end up doing, was private party. And here was the concern with private party. You had to be willing to travel, which we were. We weren't under a time crunch. You have to be, you just have to have a lot of flexibility. We tried to set up several appointments. Appointments would fall through. We got to the point where it's like, you know, if most units are not going to work for us, and traveling to one might be a $500 to $1,000 investment, it really made that option less desirable. The third option was a dealership, and we have a large dealership here in town. We're not too far from Atlanta, where we would have several dealership options, and we traveled to several. I guess what we found at the dealership was their used market was not much better than a broker. You could tell they paid a little attention to cleaning and getting something ready, but you know, it was very limited. I think that's the ultimate takeaway for us. If you're going to stick to your guns and get what you want to get, you're going to go through a lot. Anyway, we did this for a year and a half or so. We had been in hundreds of units and ruled everything out, and we just became frustrated with the whole experience. It stopped being fun. It really did. The kids, you know, we're dragging the boys around to all these places. A lot of the shopping's done in the summer. If you've ever shopped RVs in the summer, it can be miserable in those units. What made that experience even harder for us is we thought we were going to be shopping in a certain price range, kind of knew some brands that we were going to be considering. And then one day we walked into one of the upper tier brands for gas motorhomes. We walked into a Tiffin. Once we did that and we knew we didn't want to make any kind of mistake, we wanted to purchase something for the long haul, we had to really reconsider everything. The budget probably wasn't going to work. Instead of shopping at the 2 to 3 to 4 year old mark, we might be shopping older. I eventually told the salesman that we had come to know at our local dealership, this is where we are. And his comment was, You know, a couple of times a year we get a real cherry in here, and usually no one even knows that it showed up because salespeople have buyers on a list, and they know they can sell it in a heartbeat to someone on their list. And I said, well, put us on your list. One day I was at work and I get a phone call, which I usually don't take, but I look at the phone and it's the dealership. And this is, I don't know, 6 months after that conversation. Tony, you need to get down here, have what you're looking for. I told him I'd be there in about an hour. He said, you can't wait an hour, you need to get here now. So I arranged things, dropped everything I was doing, shot right over to the dealership. Now, when I walked in to this unit, I thought, no way, this is our budget. It practically, I guess everyone says this, but as I walked around, I was really looking closely. I could find no evidence of it being used. The people who had driven in to trade this unit in were still in the dealership, and the lady's purse was still on the dashboard. She had a novel she was reading, was still on the dinette table. I thought, I don't think Roy found what we were looking for, because it was in such good condition that I really thought it was 2 to 3 years old, and I knew the market pretty well at that point, and so I knew it wasn't in our budget. I went around snooping, like pulled out the faucet drains and looked at the plumbing inside the sink, and usually, particularly those plastic fixtures, you'll see a little bit of a scratch or a nick or a little bit of an algae ring or something in a pipe, and nothing. There was nothing. I opened the flapper for the toilet and looked at all the innards of the toilet, and it looked like no one had ever used this toilet. Although I was impressed with the unit, I was becoming discouraged because it really looked too good compared to everything else, all the hundreds of others that we'd seen. Then I went up to the ignition, turned it on. I saw it had 9,800 miles. I saw the generator hour meter had 39 hours. First question I asked was, what year is it? And he said it's a 2011. And at that time it was 2018. So I thought to myself, hey, this actually might fit what we were looking for. I got on the phone and called Cindy. I got her over to look. I knew how hard it was to find a unit that looked like this one. And so I put a deposit that day. I told them I was putting a deposit in hopes that I could come back on the weekend and spend some significant time. Of course, they were very accommodating and said that we were welcome to come take all the time we needed. Being slow and careful is wise. If you're well prepared, you need to be capable of making a fast decision. The family was stunned because they never see me open the wallet. If you put the work in on the front end, when you see what you're looking for, you'll know it. And we knew it, and we pulled the trigger. That's a little brief synopsis on our shopping experience and how we actually found the model that we ended up with. We felt really fortunate to find it, and in the next episode, we're going to take you to the dealership, maybe show you some of the PDI process. We filmed the whole thing, but I won't show you the whole thing. We'll take you along on our first test drive, and in another episode or two, we can't wait to show you our first trip in the new motorhome. See you next time.